DCI Karen Park has been summoned to a hearing to discuss her involvement in a case. On May 15th of the previous year, controversial journalist Jo Powers is found dead at home with her throat cut. Powers had recently been subjected to online death threats after she published a column critical of a disability activist's suicide. Karen investigates Powers' death and meets up with the new partner, Blue, who has transferred from a cyber forensics department. Powers' husband, who is in hospital with knife wounds, claims that she suddenly went mad and started stabbing herself in the head, him being injured when he tried to stop her. Although he is the #1 suspect, Park can't help but feel that he is innocent. If he was going to lie, he'd have come up with a more believable story. American rapper Tusk becomes an internet hate figure when he insults a young fan live on a chat show. While leaving a concert, he is suddenly inflicted with an agonizing head pain. He is sedated and taken to a hospital where he undergoes an MRI scan. However, during the procedure, the magnets in the scanner pull a small device through his brain and eyeball, killing him instantly. A similar device is found in Powers' brain during her autopsy, and Park discovers both Powers and Tusk had been targeted with the Twitter hashtag #Death2, used against people who become public hate figures. The device is revealed to be an autonomous drone insect, ADI, created to replace the now extinct bee population. The ADIs were created by a company named Granular, and employee Rasmus learns that they were locally hacked. He and NCA agent Sean Lee are assigned to the case. Park and Blue link the deaths to a website promoting a game, where Twitter users can vote to kill a hated public figure, with the victim selected via the most votes with number death to hashtag. Park and the investigation team try to protect the next target, Clara Meads, whom had recently tweeted a disrespectful selfie involving a military war monument, by moving her to a relatively secluded safe house used to protect terrorist informants. However, a lone ADI that initially targeted her follows them. Eventually, a swarm of ADIs find every unprotected opening, and one ADI finally locates Clara and burrows into her brain. Clara dies in agony, while Park and Blue remain unharmed. Blue deduces that the ADIs must find their targets using advanced facial recognition, which is only possible if Granular has access to government records. Blue confronts Lee, and he is forced to admit that the government is covertly using ADIs for mass public surveillance, as this was the only incentive to back the project with the funds necessary to make it successful. Use of #Death2 grows rapidly after the public learns that the game really does kill people. The situation becomes critical as the Chancellor of the Exchequer climbed to the top of a most hated list. Park interviews a former Granular employee who attempted suicide after receiving online hate, who then reveals that her flatmate Garrett Scholes, also an ex-Granular employee, saved her life. Park's suspicions are confirmed when the ADI found inside Jo Powers' brain turns out to contain a manifesto written by Garrett. The manifesto further states that he wanted to force people to face the consequences of their actions and not be able to hide behind online anonymity. Garrett had left the country 6 months previously, but the manifesto includes a selfie taken on his phone, allowing Blue to trace his location at the time. A raid on Garrett's hideout unearths his disk drive, which contains a system for sending out ADIs. When connected to the ADI system, it downloads a list of everyone who has ever used the number death to hashtag. The list contains the participants' names and faces. Park quickly works out that Garrett used public figures as bait. His plan was to use the ADIs to kill all those on the list. Blue and Rasmus try to find a way to shut down the system, but Park thinks that Garrett has led them into a trap and that the deactivate function may actually be a command to kill the targets. Against Park's instruction, Lee triggers the system. For a brief time, it appears Granular has regained control of the system, but ultimately Park's theory is proven correct, and the ADIs are sent to kill the 387,036 people who used #Death2. In the present day, Park explains at the hearing that Blue went missing and is presumed to have committed suicide. Park is thanked for her testimony and allowed to leave, as a nervous Lee takes her place, presumably knowing he is to be severely reprimanded, if not worse, for triggering the system against advice and causing the massacre. Park herself becomes a public hate figure because of the case. She receives an anonymous text message from Blue, who is still alive and secretly working with Park to track down Garrett Scholes. Blue has found him abroad and tells Park they have finally got him. The Hated in the Nation episode of Black Mirror is a chilling exploration of social media rage, technology misuse, and the terrifying consequences of mob mentality amplified by modern tech. The episode centers around an investigation into deaths triggered by autonomous drone bees controlled through social media hate campaigns. These drones, designed to replace dying bee populations for pollination, are hacked to carry out assassinations of individuals targeted by a viral social media hashtag number Death2. Here are some key themes and analysis. Mob mentality and social media. Outrage. The episode starkly highlights how social media can rapidly incite public hatred and vigilante justice. The hashtag-driven killings illustrate a dark side where public sentiment, expressed online with little accountability, turns deadly. Technology as a double-edged sword. The technological solution to environmental issues, robotic bees, becomes a weapon of mass destruction. The episode warns about the unforeseen and catastrophic risks when highly interconnected technology falls into malicious hands or is misused. Power and surveillance. The government's use of the ADIs, autonomous drone insects, for surveillance and control, and the vulnerability of this system to hacking, reflect concerns about state power, privacy erosion, and how technology can be exploited for control and harm. Dystopian society construction. Analytical views reference that the episode's dystopia arises not just from authoritarian control, but from pervasive social dynamics and technology where everyone participates in the power network, enabling a vicious cycle of hatred. Narrative and genre style. Influenced by Nordic noir and incorporating an investigative thriller vibe like The X-Files, the episode pairs a tech-savvy junior officer with a veteran detective, exploring the believer-skeptic dynamic in a modern context. Ending and moral ambiguity. The conclusion is open-ended and unsettling as attempts to shut down the system backfire catastrophically, killing all who participated in the hashtag votes. The villain escapes justice, raising questions about accountability and control over dangerous technology. Overall, Hated in the Nation is regarded as one of Black Mirror's most disturbing and plausible episodes, vividly portraying the social and ethical dangers posed by social media-fueled hate, mass surveillance, and autonomous technology weaponization. It forces viewers to confront how swiftly online outrage can spiral into real-world consequences and the fragile boundary between justice and chaos in the digital age. Our dearest friends, what do you think of this episode review and analysis? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe to be part of our family. See you in the next video. Until we meet again.